Mikey P, Mike Bobosi in the Money Players podcast and special pop-up show middle of the week because Churchill Downs is back this week. Kentucky Downs going to finish up on Wednesday. Churchill Downs opens on Thursday. And thanks to our friends at the KTDF, we have a special show to highlight that opening of Churchill Downs. And who better to bring in than really, I don't know anybody that knows more about Kentucky racing than Chris Couples. And Chris is here with me. Chris, welcome back to the Players Podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Going to be a little primer to the meet here. I have a big weekend in store to Churchill, too.
Yeah, it's exciting to get Churchill back. And I love betting Churchill because of the big fields. You can make scores there. So there's plenty of good things to jump into for Churchill. We're going to start on Thursday evening, 5 p.m. Eastern post time. I like these little twilight cards. Also, Chris, and we're going to look late pick 5. We got 2-year-olds, we got some turf, lots of different races to look at here.
Yeah, it starts off with the race that, if it was a little listed 2-year-old stakes, wouldn't surprise me. It's got some pretty nice horses in there. Conversation starts with Tennessee Belle, debut right behind Tommy Joe, then come back. One convincingly geared down. I figure he's going to take a lot of money here, and I'm going to try to beat her with the 9 Champagne Candace, whose second time out, just kind of rated back, responded when asked, drew off while not asked for best, and should be some value there.
Yeah, I would think lots of value if you can beat Tennessee Belle. I'd imagine she's going to be, what do you think? She's maybe 1-5. She's 6-5 morning line, but especially the way Tommy Joe came back to win the spin away there at Saratoga. And then, with that big blowout maiden win, it's John Ortiz, it's Gaffleone. I mean, I'm thinking 1-5 there for sure.
Yeah, I could see you might get 2-5 or 3-5, but it's hard to know when you have the horses coming out of Saratoga. Opening day of the meet on Thursday night, you're going to have a lot of local money. I'm not sure how short she'll be. I just know she's going to be short, and she's deservingly so, and absolutely can win. But I'm going to use the 9 and 10, and I may even try some verticals, and because there's a sneaky horse in there, the 2 that I think could very well hit the board.
Yeah, that one's 20-1 morning line. So it's a curious spot for the 10, right? I mean, you would think that there's plenty of stakes they could have jumped in with this one. The fact that they come back in an allowance race, go with a 6 furlong. Maybe the stretch out isn't coming for this horse. Maybe they're going to keep sprinting. I mean, it's definitely a curious spot for this one to jump back.
I haven't looked at the condition book, but I'm wondering if there's a race toward the end of this meet that they're targeting, and they wanted to get a race in, not set that long.
Well, that's a good start to the pick 5 on Thursday at Churchill. 8-race card. So late pick 4 starts in race number 5. And we're going to the grass, Chris. Mount is 16th. It's a 2X option of claiming for 80. Looking at this race, it seems to me that this is sort of a weak 2X kind. There's a lot of horses that struggle to get out of these conditions. Where'd you end up?
This starts these last 4 where I fell on some oddball horses, I thought. So I'm either going to be right quite a bit or way off. I'm primarily going to use the 5 and 7. I'm going to use the Frankie off, Frankie on angle in the same race here. I can make a case for several, but those are my 2 primary horses. Oscar season comes back, first time gelding. Last race, I'm just going to completely toss that one. That race, Churchill had a little give that day. Obviously, something probably went wrong, something minor, had some time since then. Very good races before that, running behind Corruption. And the 2 horse we talked about in the previous race, Helen Pitts, Hershey, the horse that 2-back or 3-back on Oscar season. That's a nice horse that belongs to Helen Pitts. And then the other horse I want is the horse that Frankie gets on, Summer and Adrian. I'm tossing the last effort. It was an oddly run race, kind of got bumped pretty hard, ranked in behind horses. When you go back to Keeneland, that horse just pretty much won for fun and was very impressive. I'm going to use them too. The 9 would be a B for me. And then when I get to C's, if you were spreading this race, 1, 4, 6, 8, 10, you can make a case for several in here.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what to do with the 9 there. Just that one was interesting for me as more maybe a B type. It's hard to gauge the Hawthorne lines, right? I mean, got to the turf at Hawthorne and a couple blowout wins.
The 9, something that might help you make a decision on that. Tomorrow, Army Officer runs at Kentucky Downs, And that might, depending on what Army officer does, a horse that I'm pretty high on, and Quattrocento is in that last race as well. It's already won at Kentucky Downs. Depending on what that horse done, might help you elevate the 9 to an A or drop him completely out.
I like the 5. That was my top pick also. I just think that last race, that's easily one you can dismiss. And there's some nice horses in there. Safe Trip Home came back to win at Colonial this past week. And, Freedom's Way came back to win in New York. I mean, there's just – and that race is a total throwout. Come back here. I think you get a better distance. This horse will be off the pace, but I do think we'll be rallying. Certainly is okay over the course. 3 starts and has a second and a third place finish. So I thought could use a horse I also liked, and I had this horse last time, was a 10 Theismann. Just a terrible trip in that Churchill race on June the 11th, and then was able to wire a 1X at Ellis. Now, this horse got the front and was able to dictate the race, but maybe they finally get this horse doing what he wants to do. And they paid $1.15 million for this one. So obviously bred to be a nice horse. You have English Channel on the bottom. They finally go long on the grass, and this horse was never headed in there. I mean, really, I thought raced very well. So now you get a 2X. You get a 12-1 morning line here. This horse could be out in front again. I mean, there's other speed in this race, but there's a lot of horses that like to come from off of it. So I'm interested in playing this horse right back, especially with this morning line here. I thought would be another use for me maybe on the come. He's going to have to improve, but I do think he has possibilities in here. You didn't mention the 8. What are your thoughts there? I thought this horse could be overbet in here. I don't really know what to do with him. I could see him, but he's going to have to come from way out of it again.
It has some back class, but this is one of several on the card that I thought would be overbet. Like example here, it's Sherry, Jose Ortiz, going to take money that it shouldn't, and maybe I just look silly, but nothing this horse has done fits with others I have in here. From a figure standpoint, the eye test, nothing.
Yeah, agree with that one. One horse that I just wanted to throw in real quick is the 3, Authentic Gallop. It's a 3-year-old. I've always liked this horse, and it's Amos, who is extremely hot right now. He's tried a lot of stakes races and really hasn't. His form's pretty bad. I mean, if you look on the dirt, but now back to the grass. They did try the turf, in the past with this one, and he's raced okay. I mean, the Saratoga race got beat in neck August of last year. Tried Keeneland, ran into a tough spot there. This horse has speed, maybe getting back to the turf. He's just one that's 21 morning line. I'm not sure that he can win, but he's just another horse that I think just has a little bit of maybe, some back class, some things to maybe like, and could get back on the turf and perform a little better than he has been. He can't get much worse the way he's been going.
Yeah, I can see it. And if you look back at that, the second start of Saratoga last summer, that was without Lasix. It's a 2-year-old. And if you take that jump forward, which does fit here, and that is a half to Amy Splatter.
And the fact that they keep trying him versus really good ones too. I mean, that they paid some money for him, but they keep trying him in tougher spots, and there's no drop. They're back on the turf here. We'll see. It's probably now or never time for that one in here. Go to race 6, a straight 2-year-old maiden special weights going 6 furlongs. Chris, always anxious to hear your thoughts on these races because you have a lot of first-time starters. These early meet maiden races are filled with horses that guys have been sitting on for a little while to jump in here. Where'd you go?
The AEs are going to play a big factor in ticket construction here because I believe the 14, 15, and 16 are all must-use horses if they draw into this field. So that, building a ticket prior to scratches is nearly impossible. That'll decide whether I play this as a pick 5, pick 4, pick 3, or just doubles. The other horses that are in the main body I wanted were the 3, 6, 8, and 10. The 3, I think it's going to be a sneaky horse that I like the works on. Just dominated 2 workmates, and the August 22nd looked slow on paper, but they're the jockey was sitting back in the irons the whole time, waiting on workmates to drew off at will. Ian Wilkes, not great numbers, first timers, but if you look at that statistic from the last year, it has improved greatly, and he's unleashed some very good 2-year-olds last year that have come on to have a good 3-year-old season this year. That one, if it drifts up in price, you maybe fade a little bit if not taking any money. If that horse is taking money, I'd pay close attention. The 6 second start out, this horse has some correlation with race number 4. Ran second to On Time Girl that's in that allowance race. That's an A for me. The 8, I like the works on the 8. There was nothing negative, just kind of showed some running ability for D'Amato. And the 10, Sherry's a lot like Chad. You can't tell much from workout videos because they just go out there and they gallop around. But if you don't see nothing negative, the jockey's just sitting there, good chance they can run. So I'd want them 4.
Yeah, and I agree on those. 3 of those really. I was 10, 6, and 8 for my numbers. These Gervin first time starters. I mean, this he's 20% so far, and they paid $300 for that. And you get the barn that's can pop with a first timer. And this rider has done very well for this barn also. So I do think that one's interesting, especially 12 to 1 morning or 10 to 1 morning line. I think definite use for me. And then the 6 head race before raced well. You get Irad now, speed. John Service, certainly very capable trainer. And I do think that the workouts there are encouraging. So I like that one. And then the 8, the fact that D'Amato shows up here with the one they paid $675 for, I think is one you need to use in a race like this. So the fact that he's showing up at Kentucky here for these bigger purses, this horse has some nice big works also. Really tough race here. And you mentioned lots of AEs that could definitely shake things up in here.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, those 3, 14, 15, and 16 are draw in. You don't forget to include those. All 3 work well, nothing negative.
Jump to race number 7, and this is a condition allowance race for fillies 3 and up, 6.5 furlongs here, Chris. And I thought this race was, kind of tough. There were some things you could do with this race. Also, lots of different ways you could try. I went to tap it quick to 5, 6 to 1 morning line there. Comes out of a listed stake at Ellis, sloppy track, and was just okay in there. And then the prior race at Churchill I thought was really nice there. And that 2X back in June. This horse is speedy. I think the distance suits, the track suits. There's just things to like for me. Middle of the gate, I think we'll get the right trip and, has a good chance to beat these. I thought the 4 could be used, though, also. Fibber. You get Jose Ortiz now, a horse that comes out of that same race there at Ellis on July the 21st. And was favored in there. And that was off the bench, had raced pretty well at Oaklawn and, was in stakes last year, tried the Raven Run, finished 3rd in there, was 2nd in the Dogwood here last year. So has back class, likes the track. I thought it was those 2. Where'd you end up?
We agree on the 5 completely. That was my top pick. The other A I was going to use was the 2, Easy Red. That's been a pretty nice horse, can set up close, can stalk, can drop out of it and make a run. That horse has showed all kind of ability. And like you, I found this race very tough. So I went to poking holes in several. Those were my 2 A's, the 2 and the 5. Jersey Pearl I thought was a bit interesting. There's quite a bit of speed in here. But if somehow that horse gets loose on the rail, the horse is 2 for 2 on dirt with Lasix, kind of caught my attention. And then basically I went to nitpicking, like Marmalade Sky, the 3 is going to take money. That horse has been entered and scratched 3 times since last time it started. That was a big negative for me. Fibber, I'm like you. I've seen Fibber, and I'm like, yeah, I really like this horse, blah, blah, blah. And I went to look at it. I watched a couple replays. Then I looked at the vet scratch from August 23rd at Ellis. It's just listed injury, so I have no idea what happened there, of course. Only worked back 1 time since. I just kind of come to the conclusion with all them stakes races is going to be overbet, and I didn't want to take all the red flags with the price he was going to be. So that's one I'm probably going to let beat me, and I'm just going to plant my flag basically with the 2 and 5. I might have a little bit of 1 in there, and that's going to depend on how the track is playing.
Yeah, I think I'd add the 1 on your recommendation there, and that is a good look as far as the way this horse is raced with Lasix. And you look at those Lasix lines. The 2 biggest figures that this horse has are with Lasix. Now you get Lasix back, you get the rail, there's speed. There's things to like there, and you get that big 8 to 1 morning line. And I do think the dates are a little iffy, though. That is one thing. I mean, this horse has 3 races in the last 2 years, so that is one thing kind of going against. But this is an easy, you would think, a little bit of an easier spot here, so could be hidden, especially given those circumstances here. So I do think that's a one I would definitely add to my numbers there, race number 7. Go to the last 25 claimers, 6 furlongs on the dirt. Chris, how are we going to get paid?
This was probably the most surprising race to me when I got done with where I landed. The 2 A's, I'm going to use the 5, but was not my top pick. That one's a claim back for Diodoro. Hadn't worked a lot, so that one kind of had me a little hesitant. the last race kind of broke funny and then just never ran a step. But you go back before that, and this horse was very consistent, running 3 solid races for 3 different barns. My top pick, another A, I'm going to go outside to the 10 Guanair, I believe is how you pronounce it. This horse was claimed and ran for the first time for Diodoro last time and just pretty much won for fun. Looked like Torres was driving a car out there. He just kind of ranged up, picked up ground at wheel, shifted out, and won for fun, made a huge improvement. If I'm wrong about this horse, maybe, but I'm going to bet this horse what I think is going to be a good price. I'm not entirely sure how they're going to bet this race. I just know I didn't like any of the shorter prices on the morning line.
Yeah, I can understand the 10 for sure. I do think that one is a good look there. What's your thoughts on the 7 here? Yeah, this horse came back with Cassie, Norm Cassie there at Saratoga on August the 9th and just missed. Now you get Irad here. Pretty much belongs at this level, has 3 wins over the racetrack. You said you didn't like some of the prices, the shorter prices. Does that include this one?
Yes, it does. And this is, again, a situation where I'm fine being wrong. I'm wondering, like, the race on April 29th here at Churchill going a mile, where did that come from? It was a pretty speed bias track, and this horse kind of broke good, got on the lead, cut the clock off in fast time. Then all of a sudden we got a world champion. We're going to send it to Norm Cassie. Sends it to Saratoga, runs decent. I don't have that race coming back very fast. I told everybody kind of chased. I think Luz Bowley was on the lead. Pete's namesake, but I don't quite remember. And then the race just kind of fell apart, and I didn't have it real fast. And it's going to be a short price, and just wasn't for me.
I understand it. I do think that horse will take a lot of money, probably will end up favored. Any thoughts on the 3 here, American Experiment? This horse gets a little bit of a drop and probably needs a little bit of a drop. I do think I like the fact that this horse dropped last time and improved, was a big price. Now, 0 for 2 years. He probably is more of an underneath type, but he does get a jockey switch here. Jose Ortiz shows up here, and that sort of made me pay attention.
My biggest factor in this one was Steve's had this horse for maybe his whole career. Yeah, and he's had this horse in his barn forever, and it's never made its way to Churchill. That just seemed really odd to me. Like this is a second tier in the barn, maybe third tier, and now all of a sudden we're going to come up here with the A group. Just I didn't have him fast enough, and that kind of confirmed to me that Steve didn't think he was either.
Well, really nice pick 5 sequence at Churchill. We got back to Churchill opening day, Thursday, September 11th. You mentioned, though, huge weekend. We got some 2-year-olds in action. Road to the Derby starts Saturday, Chris.
Yeah, I haven't dug in completely, but I took a glance at it and it got me excited. And I seen lots of spots I was going to get involved in this weekend. It's going to be a good weekend of racing after what was a pretty calm past weekend with just Kentucky Downs and Del Mar. So this weekend, Woodbine, Churchill, New York's back in action. It's going to be a fun one.
Well, we thank KTTF for sponsoring these shows and the horse racing gambling content that we put out on this network. We appreciate them for sure. Chris, I'm sure you'll be with me on the Inner Circle on Saturday. I'm sure we'll be looking at a little bit of Churchill for Saturday. PTF, I know, is going to be covering. Actually, I think it's going to be JK covering this Saturday card at Churchill. So look forward to their content, and we'll be talking to you soon. This has been a production of In the Money Media. Appreciate everyone for checking out Churchill and for the opening day, as well as everything the rest of the week. We'll see you all next time.